Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nerds for Life SuperCoach. I'm your host Peter, and today I've got a special guest from the SuperCoach co-captains. Dano, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for finally having me, although I do have a bone to pick with you. But we will go over that in one part of this podcast because there's a reason why I got a bone to pick. So,
I can think of a few reasons, but we'll go with. I'll wait to see which one it is.
Yeah.
But I joined Dana on a couple of podcasts earlier this year as well on his channel, so you can check that out at SuperCoach Co-Captains as well. I think you're on Facebook and X.
Yes, correct. At DANEOSCCC on X, and then just on Facebook, it's SuperCoach Co-Captains.
Awesome. Now, while we're on that topic, please make sure to subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to it on Spotify, do the same. I'm also on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X, and basically all of those channels. And we post a lot of content about the round as it takes place, and some of your trade-in targets that you could potentially look at throughout the round. Because let's be honest, all the days leading up to each round, we are constantly changing our teams. So maybe I can, throw in a decent trade idea here and there. Except for my rookies, because apparently every rookie that I have brought in has been absolutely dog shit this year. So, my God, I feel bad for Cooper Simpson. I really do. But holy shit, that sucked. that really hurt.
For you, yes.
Yeah.
Remember my message to you? I don't care if he gets one price rise. I wanted to see one more game, and then that happened, and I was like, whoa, dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, big donut bullet. Yeah, it was absolute carnage. Now, we've got a lot of options this week that we can jump to hopefully kickstart that cash generation. But before we do, let's go to the group winner. Just going to jump in here, take a quick look, and it's taking forever to load. Of course it is. Leagues.
Live podcasting. This
I
is
know,
what happens.
I know. It's just like constant load. Let's see. Oh my God. It is just... There we go.
Sounds like Pato watching Dustin Martin play. Just constant load.
Constant load. Constant
load.
All the loads. And Andrew's B grade actors 2,557 is massive score. He captained Max Gorn. He had Anderson. He's got Rowell, Dawson, Holmes, Bolton, Lindsay. That's his midfield with Neil and Brayshaw. That's a solid midfield. He held TDK. He's got Cherry and Flex. He's actually got a really good team. He's got Spargo on the field. That's an interesting pick. But it did get you a very high score of 2,557, so that's fantastic. I wish I scored anywhere near that well. Dano, how did you do on the weekend?
This is why I got a bone to pick with you. So I was actually scoring really well, and I'm like, Peter's going to ask me on the podcast soon or something. And then I had the most dog shit week, and then you decide to message and say, hey man, want to come on the podcast? So... I shouldn't be doing that, but yeah.
It was so I didn't feel as bad. No, it was what it was. It was so we could.
Well, you shouldn't feel as bad.
We could both sulk together about how shit this round was.
Because usually I hang shit on Pato for scoring terrible. I only got 2,162. I had a nightmare week, and I dodged Cooper Simpson. That says a lot. But look, I ended up sliding down almost double rank, so I was in the 3,500s, and now I'm at rank 7,127 from one round, so that is just terrible stuff. But I do still like my team. It was just more so guys that I jumped on that a lot of people didn't, like your Marricks and your Flynns and whatnot, that was scoring really good, decided to not know how to play football, or, as someone said, like Marek, prime example, he butchered it that much he could have opened up his own delicatessen. Like, it's just that bad. And yeah, like your Brayshaw getting some attention and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a really down week, and I didn't even have a player to put into flex because, yeah, I just couldn't be bothered covering it, to be honest.
Did you end up holding McRae and Jason Horne-Francis?
I traded Jason Horne-Francis out earlier in the year and never brought him back in. So I dodged that. So no, I traded McRae and I traded Finn Callahan. So, look, can't complain too much. I did bring in Bolton, and look, he was on 7 as of the 17-minute mark of the second quarter. So I was like, oh my god, this is when it rains it pours. But then he ended up at least finishing in the 70s. So he had a monster second half. It's just, look, not having Cherry hurts. Because I don't have Cherry. And I've been waiting for him to come back down and have one off game, and he's just not doing it. So I really should have jumped on in the 500k range. Didn't have the balls to do it. Regretting it now. So we live and we learn. But yeah, look, DPPs have happened. We're all rejoicing, all of us Connor Rosie owners, because we can finally flick him into defence. But there's other issues like Sheasel. Just don't know where he's playing, that sort of thing. So much to talk about. I could rant on this whole session.
There is quite a bit to talk about. Don't worry.
How did you score?
We will get to Sheasel.
How did you score, Peter?
So I not great. My backline looked putrid, absolutely putrid. You know what's sad? Matt Roberts was my highest defensive scorer for the round. That's disgusting.
Wow,
that's disgusting. Okay. I had some decent scores in Jack Sinclair, Lockie Neal, Max Gawn, Christian Petrarca, and then it just really nosedives from there. From that point, it's just trash. It's absolute trash. I held Rosie. I wanted to hold... Sorry, not Rosie. I held Horn Francis. I wanted to hold McRae, but unfortunately, I didn't have enough rookies playing, so then I decided to let McRae go. I scored 2,233, so not that much better. Didn't really nail my captain score. I picked Cherry in the end with the 126. It was decent. I'm still averaging quite good captain-wise this year, but when you've got guys like Lockie Neal and Sinclair and Gawn going much bigger, it's kind of annoying. It's a fine score. It's just fine. It's good enough. I did bring in Jordan Dawson actually for the 138, so I was happy about that. So that's pretty good. I see his run coming up's fantastic. But apart from that, just 80s and 80s and 80s. Also, Rowan Marshall. What the absolute flying fuck was that? I was watching that game, and I was actually genuinely furious at the TV. I don't support St Kilda or Gold Coast, and I felt like I had stake in the game. Because he looked, honestly, if St Kilda just decided to pull one of the under 10s from the Oz kick and put him on Jared Witts, the under 10 would have done better. He was that shit. I couldn't believe it. He was a grown man just being tossed around I don't know. Anyway, Jared Witts is a great ruckman.
To be honest,
he's a great ruckman, but he's not that good.
We did, on our podcast, we went into Rowan Marshall and why you shouldn't be trading him in, and this was one of the examples, is that he has one of the best rucks to go up against Jared Witts, and then he's got Max Gawn straight away after. Mm-hmm. So you weren't one of the ones that traded him in after that monster score.
No.
You already had him for that monster score, correct?
Yes, I had him for the monster.
So anyone that...
he dropped, he was 471k. Sorry, 451k. I brought him at 451k. And then he went 133, 112, 103, 179. So I cannot complain.
Yeah, so the people that got him cheap and got those scores, yes, sweet. But people that are point chasing, you got to look at the upcoming run, because you're not bringing them in based on their previous score. You're bringing them in from that point onwards. So whatever they score and average from that point that you bring them in onwards is all that matters. And that's what people need to realise. You look at someone like Matt Rowell. Matt Rowell's average is below 100, or it's just on 100. But he has the potential right now with his run to average 115. But then you got other guys, when you look at them and they got averages of 90, you go, oh, and it kind of puts you off. But then you realise they've had one really dodge score that might be like a 2 because they got subbed out. If they average you 110 or something for the rest of the year, that's really their average for you. So I've got someone like Libba. Libba is averaging an insane score for me, because I brought him in the last 2 weeks. So you look at Libba's scoring the last 2 weeks, that's how much he's averaged for me. So with the people that brought in Rowan Marshall, unfortunately, it doesn't matter what he's averaged previously, what he scored the previous week. It's what he gets for you now, and he's got a tough run.
He does have a tough run. I think that he could do okay against Tim English, though. He's not really a restrictive ruckman. Neither is Darcy Cameron. It's his end of year. And I know you guys mentioned it on your podcast, but his end of year is actually really solid. I just want to rattle off.
Correct.
After Max Gawn, so this is your SuperCoach final series, he's got Tristan Cherry, so that's a tough one. That is a tough one. But then he goes Richmond, Essendon, and GWS, and they are not restrictive ruckmen. So if you're playing in your SuperCoach final series, you're going to want this guy as your flex. Because I could see him going 120 plus against those last three opponents. So I brought him in because of that end of year. I looked forward. He had a good bye. There were a lot of reasons why I brought him in. I actually lied. I didn't bring him in before the Brisbane game. I brought him after the Brisbane game, sorry. So I saw the 133. I thought he's back. And then I brought him in for 3 games in a row. And he was fantastic. And then, all right, whatever. One bad score is not terrible. But also, he has gone 149 against Melbourne in 2023. Was that against Grundy or Max Gawn? Don't know. But it could. I could check that, actually. So it was round 17. I'm just going to check. It actually was against Max Gawn. So he could do okay.
There you go.
He could do okay. We'll see. I'm not expecting massive scores. Don't captain the dude. But, I can see a bounce back at least. Hopefully. Maybe. But you did mention some players that could average well, who haven't started the season great, but could average very strong towards the end of the year. And I'm going to bring them up in literally just a second. But before we do, the injury list has dropped. So I'm going to bring this up. Now, there aren't a lot of SuperCoach relevant players, but I am going to name a few. Give me a moment. I'm just bringing...
Essendon's is long. That's all we know.
It is long, and Saad El Hawley is 4 to 6 weeks. He got an injury, hamstring in the VFL, unfortunately. So anyone that had him is going to have to either trade him away or hold him longer on the bench and use him as a loop. Zach Reed, 4 to 6 weeks as well. So unfortunately, those who held like me and hoping that maybe it was just an awareness and he was back, not the case. It's time to move him on, unfortunately. You scroll down to Fremantle. Sean Darcy's a test. Nat Fyfe's a test, which could be interesting too. Jaeger O'Meara a couple of weeks away. Why do I name a lot of those players? Because people that have Neil Erasmus might be worried when guys like O'Meara and Fyfe suddenly become available again, as well as Jackson with Sean Darcy coming back. Yes, Jackson's been scoring well, but Jackson does seem to score a little bit lower when Darcy's in. It's still good, but it's not as good. And then obviously Cooper Simpson, 10 weeks. He is a trade out or hold, I suppose. Scroll down the list. There's not much at Geelong that's SuperCoach relevant. Gold Coast, not much. The Giants, you've got Callahan, still 3 to 5. Cogs is TBC. Brett Daniels is 2 to 3. Kelly is a test. And
thank God.
Yeah, so that's... And McMullen is also a test. Interesting, because it could mean that there's a different rotation in that midfield still for the next few weeks. Will Day at Hawthorn is only 2-3 weeks away. 2-3 months away, sorry, I misread that, so obviously, he's not an option. Mitch Lewis is 4 weeks away, so as an end-of-year trade down, as someone, if you just want a green dot on your bench...
Oh, mate.
I don't mind it.
We won't have trades by then.
Yeah, no, I know.
We're rapidly running out of trades.
Hypothetically, right, if you were doing your final trade down, it's not horrible. Melbourne, Jack Viney's a test. That really affects Lindsay, so I think you could let Lindsay go, but I reckon he's still got another 20-30k to make. Nothing really at North Melbourne. This is an interesting one because the injury report, Port Adelaide's injury report, actually contradicts itself. It's got Jason Horne-Francis listed as 3 weeks, but if you scroll down and you read the description, it actually says that he's a chance to play against the Giants next week. So, is he 3 weeks away or is he playing against the Giants? I don't know. So, I think they're playing that by ear. It's I'm still holding. I've held for the 1 week. I may as well hold him this week too because he was never going to play this week regardless.
Yep.
Moving down to Richmond, Noah Bolter's still out, so that's good for Campbell Gray. Thompson Dow is out.
Wait, can you reiterate that? Noah Bolter's not out. He's got bedtime.
Yes, you're right. He has.
He's got bedtime.
It's past his bedtime, and he needs to go home and sleep. Thompson Dow 6 to 8 weeks. Sammy Lawler is another 4 to 6 weeks as well. Smilly's not coming back.
I say Laylor as well.
Yeah, it is Laylor. Screw the English language.
Yes.
Smilly is 6 to 8 weeks. Jaden Short is still another 1 to 2 weeks away as well. Man, if I knew Short was going to be out for this long, I would have put Banks in my team. Honestly.
Can I say one thing? If Josh Smiley can not play this year, that would be great for next year.
It'd be amazing for next year. The other one is Josh Gipkis.
Correct.
He doesn't play this year because he's listed as 5 to 8 weeks. That would be amazing for next year too.
And Taj Houghton as well.
Play
him next year.
Taj Houghton's a 4 to 6 weeker, so he might just make it. But he might not get to 3 games. So it might still be okay. But why I'm mentioning all those Richmond players is because there is someone that we are going to talk about who could be an option this week that's very cheap, who should get at least a month of footy. St Kilda, this is an interesting one. So Jack McRae is listed as 1-2 weeks away, which is making me regret my trade out. Yeah, so... But he had 151 break even, so he's going to dump money. You could pick him up at 430k and three in like...
The problem also with McRae is he had the back issue that Ross Lyon was worried about, and he's actually out with the punctured lung. What's happened with that back issue?
There's nothing here about it. It could be that I think that it wasn't a back issue. I think that it was the lung and they didn't realise.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not a doctor, so I have absolutely no idea. Callum Mills got suspended. That's a 1 weeker. He is very firmly in my trade targets next week. I'm hoping to dump Lindsay next week and get Callum Mills in. Now, I know that he didn't score amazing. He scored a 69, but just remember that he gave away a few stupid free kicks. Yeah, he gave away stupid free kicks. He only played 64% of the game, right? You add a 20% to that game time. You add the fact that he gave away some dumb free kicks. That could have been a 90 score in his first game back in a long time. It's fine. It honestly is fine. West Coast, who cares? Western Bulldogs. Trelaw's listed as a test, which could affect a few players, actually. And Buslinger apparently did well in the VFL, so he's not coming back.
I hope he's back. I hope he does.
If he comes back,
I just want to go on one little random rant here. Buslinger towed up Jesse Hogan, gets dropped the next week.
He was sub as well.
I don't get it.
4.
So he played the full game against the Giants, against Jesse Hogan, mopped the floor with him, sub next week, then dropped. I don't get it. Anyway.
It's Bevo. He is 119k. He's gone 57, which is the game we mentioned, and then he's gone 4. He hasn't played since round 8. If he can come back into the side, he is on his bubble, but he's got to break even at 10. I don't expect him to be a huge cash generator. He was never going to be anyway, which is annoying.
Just needs to be a warm body.
He is a warm body. Well, he's not this week because he's on a bye, so it'd be the following week anyway. But definitely want to keep an eye out on. The other one that I know, I hate it too, but James Leake, if he comes in, he's got a -6 break even, 119k, hasn't played since round 1.
No.
Just an option.
Giants fan here? No.
That's fair.
I warned everyone in pre-season about James Leake. No one listened. I think 50% of people listened. The other 50% didn't. Brought him in and had to trade him out because they're like, where's all the good scores? He was never going to score good.
I started Peyton instead, and he has barely been better. Like, barely been better.
Imagine starting Riley Bice, seeing that he was sub in his first game, and then trading him to Peyton because everyone else had him. This guy.
And this guy.
Yeah.
Because I saw the sub and I was like, I'll just go Ben Peyton. And Anyway, that went well. Campbell Gray. He is the only one worth talking about that's on the bubble. He's negative 52 break even, 119k. He's got defender forward status. If you put him in your forward line and you're an idiot like us and have Ben Payton, you can actually swap them, which is actually kind of useful. Sydney have a lot of injuries this week. Yeah, it's not bad. Sydney have a lot of injuries this week, and Payton could actually come back into the team and just be a warm body. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that happens. Look, the only thing I don't like about Campbell Gray is that he scored okay on the weekend against Essendon. He scored 82. He played 4 games prior to that, and he scored a 41.
Let's be real.
Job security is not great.
He's just there. He's just there for when Noah Bolter isn't. But there's a positive in that you will know which games Gray will play.
That is true, but there's a second positive. He actually drifted forward in the second half. So because he drifted forward in the second half, and Richmond's forward line is absolutely disgusting, there's a chance that he could stay in the team and play forward more. Necessarily just defence. That's what I'm hoping for, and that would be the absolute best case scenario. But like you said, we know which games Noah Bolter's missing. If Campbell Gray comes into the team every time Noah Bolter misses, we're doing fine. The only concern is Tyler Young just came back through the VFL, and he could come in for Noah Bolter as well. So this is the best rookie option as a downgrade this week is not that amazing.
On the bubble.
That's on the bubble, yes. But in saying that, we did say that against about Neil Erasmus. We said the same thing about Dudley. We said the same thing about Brock. We said the same thing about all these guys. And they've made over 100k for their coaches. So maybe it's still worth the punt just to get at least some price rise, and hopefully they stay in the team. Yep. There is one more. And considering how early we've gone on a few players, I don't love it, but he had a really good game. He played on the wing. Drifted forward, kicked, I think, 3 goals. Negative 50 break even. 113k. Angus Clark. Plays for Essendon. Do we want another Essendon player in our teams? Probably not. But I suppose with a 97 in your first game, he doesn't play Richmond every week, but he does get to play them again in 6 weeks. Would you go early on Clark, or would you prefer Gray?
No.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go early on Clark. That's just me. I've gone early on players already. Bustlinger being one, because I just was just like, oh my god, this kid, I know he's a jet. I actually brought him in without playing a game. But he came out, towed up Hogan, and I was like, yep, this dude's locked in this team. Oh my god. And then, nothing. So, I've been burned. And I love a risky play myself, but I'd want to see some data. Look at what happened with the Cooper Simpson one, Peter.
Yeah.
I wanted 1 more week's worth of data, and then he got injured, subbed down on a 0. So leave it a week.
You can't pick injuries. Doesn't matter how talented the player is. He could still get, like you said, he can get injured, and that's it. You don't have any cash.
But you can pick sub-vests. And Clark screams sub-vest at the moment, at any given moment. And that 97 only stays in his rolling average for 1 week. If he gets another 80 odd or something like that, then definitely consider him. But I need another week's worth of data. And then I think they got their buy after that or something like that. I don't know. I have to look at the buys again, but yeah.
If he has another big week, even if he's on buy next week, which I need to... Let's just check that, actually. Let's just go to round 13.
I actually think it's the Freo and St Kilda ones next week.
Yeah, it is. They don't have a buy until round... Their buy is the last one, so you'll actually get some decent price rises out of him if he keeps playing. So I actually like him, but I wouldn't be going early either. Essendon are making another debutant this week. They've announced that. We don't know.
So that's what I want to talk about, because Zach Johnson is that debutant. There's 2 debutants this week. Okay. One for Gold Coast, one for Essendon. Zach Johnson's one, little half-back flanker. He's been killing it. I'd rather see him.
The role's better.
I'd rather see, data from him. And then we've also got over Clark, to be honest. And then the other one that I want to see is Leo Lombard from the Suns. Should have been playing. He would have been playing earlier this season. Got himself injured, the dumb idiot, by doing some stupid things. And yeah, he's one that I really want to see. He's your type that can get 5 disposals but 10 tackles.
I agree, it's a good one, but my concern is that it screams sub-vest every week because Gold Coast midfield is just nuts.
He wouldn't be playing midfield. He'd be playing up forward.
It's another issue. Do you remember Berry last year?
Nah. Wouldn't be another issue because when you've seen Lombard in pre-season and what he was doing, I'd be okay with it. He might get the 60, then he might pop up for a 90. But I want to see these two players. Zach Johnson and Leo Lombard are the two I want to see ahead of Clark. I need another week's worth of data for Clark.
I think all are good options, but I am not going early on another player again this year unless it's my final upgrade kind of thing.
I'm saying watch them because these are the guys that they're starting to bob up in the buys. So I've actually got some downgrade targets. Don't just go for the first one that you see. Get that data.
I agree. Get the data, watch them play, watch them score, see what their job security is like, because we're at the point of the season where we're running out of trades. I know people that have way less trades than what I do, and I feel like I've run out. There's no cash generation.
How many do you have, by the way?
I have 19 trades and a boost.
See, if I do 3 trades this week, I've got 15 left.
I'm considering 4 trades this week.
Down to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd be on the same number, yeah.
Yeah.
But, this is what I mean. We're at the point where there are these guys bobbing up. We've all been burned by the rookie crisis, like your Clay Halls and shit like that. Hopefully Clay Hall plays, but we've been saying that for the past few weeks. He keeps going with the team on planes and stuff and just not playing.
It is frustrating.
Yeah, really think about it. That's all I can say.
There are a few names to think about. And
The other thing I just want to interject. The mid-season draft, Essendon has gone to the AFL and has asked special permission to be able to play someone who they draft on the Wednesday immediately. I think they're playing on the Thursday. And I think the AFL might say yes because they're that desperate.
It's going to be a ruckman, right?
And it could be, here we go, it could be that they draft Crossley, who's already in Queensland, to go quickly play in Queensland as their ruck. So there's other rookies going to be bobbing up as well because of this mid-season draft.
The only issue
Collingwood has a bloke that they're looking to get and pretty much play straight away as well.
The only issue is you'd have to go sideways on Boyd if you're a Boyd owner. That's the annoying thing. If you're a Boyd owner like me, you would have to go sideways and make absolutely zero money from that move. And I get it, and I understand why it's good. But I have to burn a trade, do it, make no money in the meantime, and hopefully he pops off. I think Crosley does well, but then I can see him scoring 80s on my bench, which is going to be real fun to watch. Yeah, I suppose.
The other is people like me that just have Matt Flynn at R2. Upgrade him, and you could, I don't know, you could even get a Boyd out of your team, or Crossley could go to flex. 99k flex guy. I'm assuming that they're going to draft him, by the way.
I assume so too.
Goldstein looks gassed, man. He wasn't expecting to play this much.
No, he looks done. It's got to be, it should be Crossley. If only Harry Boyd played for Essendon, right? If only he can get to Essendon.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. He would be so good for them, actually. But no, he's at St Kilda. It's an interesting one. For people like me who already have 3 rucks, there's a lot of teams that are still going out there with Gawn, Cherry, TDK. I've got Gawn, Cherry, Marshall. It's probably less attractive for us, but you're right, it is team dependent. Imagine going down from Gawn at 731k and banking the 631k and then using that money to fix other lines. Don't do it. I swear, don't do it. It's a horrible decision, but also it could really pay off, right? Because you would
imagine if Crossley averages 100 for the year.
That'd be nuts.
For people listening and watching and whatnot, there's this thing on our podcast where I made the statement that because we're in such a rookie crisis, I will trade out Max Gawn, and I'm being held to that. And it could end up being this round trying to cash in on that 700 and something thousand and just working out a way to spread that across the team. The only problem is I don't have Cherry. So I've got Flynn. But because I'm such a G, I've promised to trade out Max Gawn at some stage just for the lols for everyone listening and whatnot. So I don't condone this move. I'd only condone it if you have Cherry, because I can see Max Gawn dropping off at some stage. That's just me, though.
That's fair, but Matt Flynn would be your R1, which sounds horrible.
I know. That's why it's just like, no, don't. But again, imagine if Cross... No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't. There's a part of me that likes it, and I hate that I like it. I really.
I did this one year when Briggs came in, and Pato, my co-host, said, "Nah, you're not going to make Briggs your R2," and I'm like, "Watch me." And then he averaged 100 and something for the rest of the year, and was insane. And I got him at like 320,000. And it actually boosted me up the ranks really fast because I used that cash elsewhere. And I'm trying to find a way to do it again, but this time with Max Gawn. It's just no one's really bobbed up.
I jumped onto Briggsy that year too, in Classic. Briggs that year in draft won me my draft league. He just won me my draft league that year. Chucked him on my bench and looped him in as I had Tom Lynch as my forward and didn't play a game. And then I was just looping his score onto my field all year. He won me a grand final. Honestly, it was amazing. I had another 2 ruckman basically, and I've had Briggs in my draft league ever since, and he has been disappointing every year since. But I know what you mean. It can give you definitely the right. It could put you in a good position, but it could backfire.
We just need that one. We just need that one guy where, and again, not condoning it for the faint-hearted. If there's a guy that bobs up that we can save money on that will score a respectable amount of 100s or whatever and make us money at the same time, it would be great. I'm just waiting for that guy, and I'm so hoping Crossley is it, because imagine spreading 600k around.
It would.
But am I mad enough to do it? Maybe. I don't know. It depends on if I have another shit week.
I'd be more inclined to do it with your flex. So Rowan Marshall, TDK.
I'm considering Flynn.
I'm
actually, that honestly makes sense. Considering rolling with a Gawn and Crossley if Crossley comes in and just dominates.
I don't hate it. I think it's a good move. I mean, not a good move, but it could be risky and not.
Cherry's out of reach.
They're both the same.
Yeah, no, but he's out of reach. I don't want to have 1.4 million on my rucks.
I'm currently looking.
That's just me.
At a ruck line of about 2,100,000, and it is insane. All my.
I don't like it.
All my salary cap are just situated in my 3 rucks. That's it. That is it.
I wanna get some budget primos in and get these shithouse rookies off.
That is a priority that we need to do. Okay, so we've talked about enough about future rookies. Let's talk about the players that we could bring in this week. First one, I'm gonna rattle off some names. You tell me yes or no, and you can tell me why. Number 1, 127k. He's already had a price rise of a whopping $5,900 from his starting price. He's got a -4 break even.
Is this Caleb Smith?
It is Caleb Smith.
Yes.
It is Caleb Smith.
Look, he got 69 in his only full game played. Looked okay. Could get more opportunity. What's going on with Jaden Short though?
1 to 2 weeks still.
Yeah, and that's the issue.
Yeah. Okay.
Could get another dead rook.
Then you got another dead rookie. But he's played significantly more games than Campbell Gray, so he could have better job security at least. I would rather an 11 than a 0 in a bye. It's not great, but I would rather it. If I had to choose, I would rather it. Okay, fair enough. But it is definitely an option if for whatever reason someone went early on Campbell Gray. Campbell Gray is definitely the one to go, but I'm just rattling off a few others just in case people are trying to do a double downgrade or a triple downgrade. A lot of teams are doing that. But the one that I'm really keen on is another Tiger.
Can I just quickly go back to Campbell Gray? Pato and I were discussing this week, and we're not sure on this one. Can Noah Bolter, is the curfew for his actual place of residence? Or is that hotel rooms? Because if it's his actual place of residence, does that mean that he's excluded from all interstate games?
I think it's his actual place of residence because that's why he can't play this week. Because this week, he would make it back... Technically, he would make it back to his hotel room because it's Saturday at 4:15 p.m, right? The game will be over by 7 o'clock. Surely he's back at his hotel by that point. So I'm thinking it's actual place of residence.
So then you go into looking at Richmond's draw. How many games can you see Campbell Gray playing then? If you look at time that they start, like their night games, and also interstate games.
Richmond draw.
I've never, ever thought I'd actually be doing this on a podcast or whatnot for someone who has a curfew for bedtime, essentially.
It is ridiculous. It doesn't tell me where the games are. All right, I'm gonna have to do this another time. But I can actually because it's the top team. So he plays the Dogs at 3:20. He'll make that. He plays Sydney at home at 1:20. So he's got 2 games in a row that he'll play. Richmond Adelaide 3:20. Geelong Richmond he probably won't be able to play. So there's at least 1. Richmond Essendon he'll play. West Coast he won't be able to make in time. It starts at 8. So that's at least 2 games. Collingwood, Gold Coast in Queensland. That's 3 games. Then he's got St Kilda at 1 p.m, North Melbourne at 1 p.m, Geelong at TBC. So potentially only 3 games. Potentially only 3 games. 4 games if you include the Giants game. But he could get injured. There could be other injuries. The other thing is, the thing that I don't like about it is Tyler Young. Tyler Young could be back in too.
Yeah. See, and this is why we discuss these things.
It is why. I'm just going to bring up his teammate, Kane McAuliffe. 287k. Frustrating because he's already gone up 42k. Negative 22 break even. He's a midfielder. All right.
1% of the teams.
Not
with ultra POD.
Massive POD, but I've been listening to a lot of podcasters out there, and the creme de la creme of SuperCoach are talking about this guy for a reason, and there is a reason. He scored a 96 and a 97 in his last 2 games. Has looked real good, and he came 3rd in their CBAs, so he's the 3rd highest CBA attendee last week, and the week before he was 2nd. Okay, Lawler's out. Presti is still playing VFL. Smilly's not coming in anytime soon. And we've also got, oh my God, who was the other midfielder that just went down as well? I mentioned him before. My God, I forgot his name. Anyway, point is, 2 Tiger midfielders are out. Prestia could come in, but that means there's still a spot left for McAuliffe, even if Prestia does come in. And Prestia's let's be honest, his cars are going to go at any minute anyway when he gets back. So I actually see this as a positive, and I could see him making some coin in that time and actually scoring kind of okay enough where you could field him up until your last upgrade. If he averages 85 from this point forward, if he averages 85 from this point forward, right, and he is your last upgrade, and he's made you 150k at that point, or even 100k at that point, you've done well, I think. Thoughts?
Don't mind it. We're trying to get a bit more creative with cash generation. You just gotta, if he drops a 50, he drops a 50, and you've just spent 287k on the bloke that's dropped a 50. But we're gonna try something because these 123,000 guys just aren't playing enough.
They're not. They're not, and I'd rather the 50 out there than having, Clay Hall on my bench every week. Also, remember, Neil dropped a 40 on us this year. We paid almost 700k for him.
Yep.
Marshall's 550k. He dropped a 50 last week. So it kind of just happens, unfortunately. It just happens. People paid up for Dacos. People are paid up for Sheasel. I'm one of them. He scored a 63. I'd rather have someone that I've paid 280k for score a 63 than Harry Sheasel, who I'm actually potentially looking at to captain in certain games. So I'm never putting a C on Kane McAuliffe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He scores 80, and that's bonus. That's bonus for me. There's another player that I'm going to bring up next. Definitely more risky. Okay? Definitely more risky. Has just come off a 5-goal super haul. All right?
Is this bloke in hoops?
290k. Very similar name to someone I just mentioned. Negative 33 break even. Forward. Okay? Plays for the Cats.
Is it Nanan Seal?
It's similar. It's close. It is Shannon Neal.
Oh, so close.
so close. His last two games were an 80 and a 126. Okay, he plays West Coast this week. Right. And he's also got Gold Coast, Eston, Brisbane, Richmond in his next few. He's also got North Melbourne a couple of weeks after that. And he could... Not that you want him for your SuperCoach finals, but he's also got Richmond in the last game of the year too. Could make 100k pretty quickly.
So, he is one that is a budget flex. You wouldn't want him on your bench. Most people have already completed their forward lines. You wouldn't want him on your bench. You'd want him on your flex position because if he does a random pop-off 120 game, he's there. And he's making your money. You could do it as a loop option as well, but I think more so for flex than anything. And you're talking about him, like at 290k, you gotta bring up his teammate who's in the low 400,000 range.
I was about to. He was later. I'm getting more expensive. If you notice, I'm just getting that.
Okay, so you're gradually getting it. We'll mention him later. But yeah,
I'm very much considering his teammate, right? Because I've looked into this. I've actually looked into his teammate. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna get there, but we've got one more name before we get to him. Okay. Look, Shannon Neal's on a budget. I'm considering putting him in my forward line and then moving DPP players into my midfield and getting some rookies off the midfield, right? Field. And kind of boosting that for a bit, make some money, and then move them back into the forward line. But that's okay.
What was your other one that's slightly more? Because I got two guys that are under him that I want to bring up quickly.
There are actually two, so I forgot. I didn't read my run sheet properly. The first one is Mr. Toby Green of GWS Giants. All right,
Can I just quickly mention my two because they're cheaper than him?
Go for it.
And one is a giant.
Please give me some ideas, because I'm
so Xavier O'Halloran, right, is 287k, 50 average, 2% owned. He'd be a cash play. The Giants' midfield is depleted. He's been riddled with the sub-vest throughout the year. The only downside is Josh Kelly is coming back. But they're still lacking those two midfielders that they need. Callan Wall's trying to fill a void at the moment. He's not doing it that great. Toby Green's going into the midfield, who you're about to talk about. But Toby won't be in the midfield for much longer. So Xavier O'Halloran is 287k. He could be one. He's a mid-forward as a quick cash play. The other one, who I messaged you about during the week, and I can't believe you didn't mention him at 237k, Angus Sheldrick. Now, he is the rookie that we missed. Some people even started him, traded him out, and he's come back and he's actually playing decent. And he's got a negative 24 break even, 5% owned. He's getting the midfield minutes. cash gen right there. So they're the two that I really wanted to just quickly mention because, again, we're strapped for cash. Mills misses a week, but Sheldrick will still be playing there at this stage, while Mills nurses back into that midfield role.
I can't put Sheldrick in my team. I just can't. But I understand why you'd want to. I get it. 237k is quite good. He does play. He's got a good draw coming up. He does have Richmond, not this week, but following week. But he's got a couple of really tough midfields to go up against. He's got Port, Bulldogs, and Freo, who are actually some tough midfielders to go up against. And I hear Subvest, especially when Goulden's almost back. And you've also got Mills coming back in too. I just can't do it. I think that, you know what, if you started him, or if you brought him in early, if you held him all this long, you've done great. But he's already gone up 75k. I don't see that increasing that much. I think that he's only got another 30k to make. I see McAuliffe's job security from this point forward being a bit better. I could also see O'Halloran. I like that one because it looks like he's got a lot of job security, and at a minimum, you've got a warm body on your field. But I don't love Sheldrick. I don't mind the O'Halloran one, definitely. I like that one probably the best when it comes to job security. But even still, I don't know. You've definitely got
we discussed them.
Yeah, you've got something with O'Halloran, I think, especially with the Giants, three-gun midfielders out. Kelly coming in could hurt him.
This is the thing, and I'll say this. I actually mentioned bringing in O'Halloran last week. And hindsight's a wonderful thing. He ended up going good. I think he almost scored 100. And he's got the tenacity on the ball at the moment. So when Kingsley sees someone that he likes with the grunt work, they don't have to be pretty footballers, but like on-field leadership and the grunt, he likes to stick with them. And that's what O'Halloran's bringing right now. So, yeah, look, I just wanted to rattle off those two. We'll keep going with your podcast. You're up to Toby Green.
Toby Green.
Yeah.
Ceiling's there. I hate this guy. I absolutely hate this guy. I would have to really
love him.
Ugh. But first 5 games, he was averaging 109.6. Okay? You know, massive ceiling. 124 against Melbourne, 149 against West Coast, 127 against St Kilda. But then after that, he scored a 30, a 54, and a 51, and a 54 before going 76 and 127. Now, he's got the CBA role at the moment because of the injuries that you have, but it is going.
Yeah.
But if it's there against Richmond, he scored a 154 against them last year. So there is that. There is that. You could have immediate return from this guy. Like, instant return from this guy. He is 100k cheaper than what he should be. So just consider him. I'm not putting him in my team. I'm not putting him just because I don't like him. I don't care if he makes 200k. I just don't like him. So I'm just not going to have him in my team. But it is an option. This is one that I'm actually really considering, and I hate it. It is someone that we all had last year. It is Jai Caldwell. He's got a break even of 97. He's 429k. Hear me out. I like that you like it. Okay, he went 119 against Richmond.
Keep going.
CBA rolls there. It's there.
Yep.
He's got high CBA rolls. He did score a 61 and a 40 in his last 2 before that, but he was coming back from injury and he had low time on ground. His time on ground did increase, not significantly, but there was a good increase. I think it was like a 10% increase against Richmond. And before that was actually doing quite well with the 129 and the 118 to kick off the year. And the 84 was an injury-interrupted game. So if you take away those games where he was either he got injured or he was building up from an injury, he's actually turned up in all 3 games that he's looked good in because of that, right? So uninjury-affected games, he's turned up every time. Now, he does have a tough midfield run coming up, which is the only downgrade. He's got Brisbane, who don't tag but are a tough midfield. Carlton, who do kind of tag, but they won't focus on him. Geelong can be restricted, but they won't focus on him. Fremantle don't tag, tough midfield though. and Gold Coast who don't take. So I don't necessarily know what to make of that, but he could average a flat 100 for the year, maybe even 105 for the rest of the season. So it's not horrible. It's not horrible. What do you think?
I'm trading him in.
You're trading
That's
him in.
why I'm laughing. I'm
like
trading this fucker in.
See, the thing is, I'm considering him and the next guy we're about to mention. And that
which I think is exactly who is going to... the other one I'm going to trade in. Is he around 480k?
Tommy Stewart?
Oh, God, no. Oh, no. Oh,
okay,
no,
alright.
No.
So,
I'm not trading him in.
Before we... Hang on. I just need to discuss it. Oh, wait. I brought up Tom Atkins.
That's all good.
I brought up Tom Atkins. Tom Stewart. 423k, break even of 87. Don't bring in Tom Atkins. He did go 33 against West Coast last year in round 24, but I looked it up. He didn't play. He only played like less than half the game with injury. He got subbed out. So don't take that into consideration. He started the season off well with 100. Then he scored a 9. Injury affected game. Came back 118. Looked great. But he then had a bye. And then went 64 and 67. Okay? Not amazing. Not amazing. But the 67 was another injury-affected game. The 64, he was just shit against Hawthorn. He was just terrible. But the 67 was another injury-affected game where he missed the next few weeks. And then he came back against the Dogs and scored a 98. A 98 would have been my highest defensive scorer last week. Okay? The Dogs are actually a hard team to score against. It is disgusting. But his draw coming up is insane. He's got West Coast, Gold Coast, Essendon, Brisbane's tough, Richmond, the Giants, either way, North Melbourne, St Kilda, Essendon, and Richmond again.
I just want to mention something.
Yeah.
You said, this is an injury-affected game, ignore it. This is an injury-affected game, ignore it. There's too many injury-affected games, Peter.
Yeah, that could be the problem.
And this is the thing. You can't keep ignoring the fact that man is old. And I know we got Dane Zorko running around there looking like he's freaking fit as a fiddle. Tom Stewart is not Dane Zorko. He's carried that back line since he's basically come in. He's now got your Guthries and whatnot taking over, and your De Koning's taking over. His body's breaking down. And we always talk about, he's always going to have... I'll literally read from our run sheet about this prick. Literally what Pato wrote is, feels gross suggesting. But West Coast this week and coming off a rest for that knee, he gets to this price every year and scores well. Obvious injury resting concerns though. He could even get rested.
I know, and we were saying this last year too, not to jump on him, but I just want to... So he started last year disgustingly. It was horrible. He got to his bye, he was averaging 92, and that... I don't understand how, because he pumped out a bunch of 60s and 70s for most of the season. But after his bye, he went 107, 97, 115, 105, 121, 139, 120, 76, 104, and then the 33 that was injury affected.
But what role was he playing?
The
Peter?
same one that he's playing now. It's a halfback role. He's not playing midfield.
So that one last year, that run that he had, he was playing in the centre bounces and dropping into defence.
Yeah, he's not getting that centre bounce time. Alright, I no longer like this. Thank you for talking me out of it.
And if he pops off this week against West Coast, good on him. But next week he could end up getting injured.
That's a good point. That is a good point. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it is definitely someone to keep an eye on at least, especially if you need to complete your backline. I actually have too many defenders, so I don't need to do that. I was just going to keep moving forwards and defenders into my midfield, and then just have a bunch of other players in forward and defence. That's kind of what I'm doing this year. I think I did that last year too. But we'll move to the other player that you wanted to discuss, and I'm assuming he plays for the Gold Coast Suns. Yes. 45 break even.
Oh yeah.
Matty Rowell, 485. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely the better option. It is definitely the better option.
And he's having a shit year, and he's averaging 105 because... And this is the thing that I want to point out, right? His low's not good. Like, it's bad. But when he cracks 100, he doesn't crack 100. He cracks 120 plus. You look at his scoring, he actually hasn't scraped 100. It's like 120 plus or nothing. So at least you know this mofo will go out there and get you 120 or more if he's having a good game.
Oh.
And he's coming into form. He's looking way better than the season that he started. And he's got a good run for midfielders coming up.
He does have a good run for midfielders coming up. The only game that's a concern for me is the Giants one in round 15. But apart from that, there's no immediate tags coming up, which is great. Does play the Giants twice, though. That is annoying. His SuperCoach Grand Final will be against Willem Drew, though, which is another annoying one. So this is the thing. If you've got him at the end of the year, he could get, like, Carlton, Giants, Port Adelaide. So he could really, like, hurt you in the finals. But
I don't think they tag Matt Rowell. I think they tag Noah Anderson.
We've been saying that all year, but he has been the one that they've been targeting. Noah Anderson's been...
No. Finn McGuinness went onto him.
They did, but that was after Anderson
half-time.
went absolutely nuts. That's the thing. So they
Correct.
moved Finn McGuinness later to him. So,
Correct.
look, I'm just saying they know that Raul's susceptible to a tag, and I think they're exploiting that weakness a bit, some teams. But you're right, 137, 136, 126, 130, 124, 121. These are huge scores. These are massive scores. But 74, 69, 53, 80. Ugh. I get why you'd bring him in. I'm not 100% sold myself. I still actually like Caldwell better. I don't know why. I don't know why I like him. Maybe it's for just the ultra POD. Like, how many people... So, Raul's in 15% of teams as of recording. Caldwell is in a whopping...
0.5%.
Holy shit. This is ultimate POD territory. Ultimate POD. Okay, interesting. He was in 1.8%
This is why I got
of teams.
Poqueno las dos.
I can't afford both. I have no cash. I can't afford both.
Oh, okay.
I can afford one, and then maybe a Kane McAuliffe.
I'd be going Jai Caldwell then.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Steady 110s. I reckon you'll get 100s to 110s. They'll be steady.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm actually liking, and it's a massive POD. He pops off 1 week, and no one's getting that score. We're gonna go up a little bit more if your budget's just a little bit better. All right, a little bit higher. I actually like this one. I just can't do it because.
Oh, let me guess. Okay, give me a price. Give me a team. Actually, no, just give me a price first.
515k.
515. Okay, team.
118 break even. Plays Melbourne this week.
Oh, I don't know who this is.
Has only had one game below 96, and that was against the Eagles in an injury-affected game.
Oh, hang on a second. Is this Took Miller?
This is Wanganeen Malera.
Oh, Wanganeen Miller. Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Had absolutely amazing form. So up until round 9, he was averaging 109.4. Looked fantastic. Okay? Looked fantastic all season. He doesn't have the ceiling of Sinclair, but, I mean, in saying that, he did go 133 against the Giants in round 5. But he's a safe 110 guy, and I kind of like that, especially if you're finishing off your side. The only bad game he's had this year was an injury-affected game. He didn't play a lot of footy that week, and he did get hurt. And that's fine. They're also resting him a little bit because it's West Coast, but they did lose that game too, which did not help. Gold Coast, 126. So he's bounced back well, and he's got a good run home, and his end of season is nuts. Listen to this. His last five games are Melbourne, North Melbourne, Richmond, Essendon Giants. He could go massive in those last 5 games, and you could be picking him up at 515k. If my budget was a little bit higher, he'd be my number 1 target this week. Thoughts?
Don't mind it at all. At all. Like, trying to find some value there and whatnot, and a consistent scorer. I don't mind it.
If I choose, so I'm thinking if I can get to him, it's annoying. It just means that I have to do a double downgrade, upgrade to him, and then get maybe like a Callum Mills next week, it means that I'll have to miss out on McCauliffe and Neil and Jai Caldwell. So the question I'm thinking...
It's not the end of the world, mate.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. So I think that, for me, it just means that I'll end up with Harry Sheasel in my midfield this season. I'll end up with... So what I'll end up doing is getting Mills next week as well, and then I'll end up with Harry Sheasel and, like, Jack Sinclair in my midfield to finish the year. And then I just got, like, 8 defenders for the season. And then I'll have...
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm personally thinking. And then just go with that. And then I've got defenders to play with if there's an injury. Moving up a couple of price tags, and I don't like this, a few dollars. I just don't. And I can't believe I don't like it. And it is Nicky Dagos, 136k. Or Disco Dagos, like your potty likes to call him. He's got...
The Finn McGuinness tag.
Has gone
Yeah.
his last 3 games, 106, 102, and 41, which is disgusting. He's also coming off
Finn
some of
McGuinness tag.
the most average form we have ever seen him have. Like, ever. 89, 76, 95, and 107. And I just want to point out that those last 2 scores, it looked like he was going to score a 50 up until half-time, and just popped off in the second half both games. He will not do that against Hawthorn if he stinks it up for a half. I don't love it. I don't.
What's his break even?
His break even is 117,
90s.
and I don't even think he hits that.
You can wait a week.
You could.
This is a bloke, I don't have him, and this is a bloke that I've been waiting to bottom out, and I was like, right, is this week the time to strike? Looked at it, and I'm like, man, it has the McGuinness tag.
Mm-hmm.
If he does scrape through that tag and he gets 110, he still drops a fraction in price.
Yeah. And that's when
Not much, but
that's when
yeah.
his run comes.
So-
That's when his run comes. He's got Melbourne, St Kilda,
Correct.
West Coast.
1 week.
Yeah.
Wait 1 week. Even if he hits a 120, he barely goes up.
This is another reason why I'm considering not jumping on Wanganeen Malera and waiting for this dude. And I'm going to be tossing that up throughout the week. So do I want...
I have a rule now where these 600k guys, they're all dropping. They're all dropping down. And originally I had the rule of don't spend 600k on a player. It's now shifted to don't spend more than 550k on a player.
Mm-hmm.
And it could even drop further than that the closer I come to completing my team. It could be don't spend anything more than like 515k on a player and just trying to save that money. So he meets the threshold. I'm going to say he's going to drop even more. Probably not much, but he's going to meet that threshold, and then he's got that absolutely insane run, and you'll get a guy that honestly could be performing like a 700k guy for just over 500k.
I love
Wait
it.
a week.
And I think I'm going to hold off on the Malera pick and see if I can...
And this could see me
Dagos.
miss Rao.
I'm missing...
Focus on
I'm skipping Rao. I would rather finish my season with Dagos than Rao. So I would be...
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking possibly even having money in reserve for that move next week and just biting a bullet this week with a shit score.
Yep.
Or just going early on him anyway and just saying fuck it and just paying what he is even.
And then cry when he drops the 60.
Kind of. I mean, I'm gonna have depends what I have on the field. I might get a 60 regardless. Last player. So Dacos is next week. That's fine. I agree wholeheartedly. Last player. I think this is he's bottomed out, and it is Zachy Merritt, Essendon. He has got a 109 break even. He's playing the Brisbane Lions. He went 135 against them last year. He just came off a 156 against Richmond. He was always going to pop off against Richmond.
Correct.
But his last 2 huge games were against North Melbourne and Richmond, where he went 172 and 156, and then Collingwood, Sydney, and Bulldogs, he shat the bed. So Make of it what you will. He has been a little bit up and down. His draw coming up's okay. It's nothing special. I'm fading myself.
I'm surprised you missed the guy that I mentioned earlier that you said that you were going to mention, and then we just skipped over him at 438k.
Was it Tuke Miller?
Jeremy Cameron.
Jeremy Cameron.
So we're talking about Shannon Neal at 290k.
Oh, yes, of course. Same logic.
But Jeremy Cameron, we never actually touched on. He's 438k, 4% owned, 39 break even, and you talked about Shannon Neal's run earlier. Jeremy Cameron has the exact same run, but has a way higher ceiling.
I agree, but who's got 438k to spend on a risky play this year? So we did it last year with, if you remember, we did it last year with Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, and honestly, that was disgusting. Do we want to do it again with Jeremy Cameron?
You just said on a risky play. Why is it risky? Is it because he's a key forward?
Yes. He scored a 36 against Brisbane in round 3. A 48 against Collingwood in round 8.
Yet we're going for a Jai Caldwell, who's actually slightly cheaper and a riskier play.
It is.
This is what I mean. You can't just say that he's a risky play and then go fucking mind-boggling bonkers over Jai Caldwell.
Yeah, you're right. No, that makes sense. You're right. I hate it, but you're right.
He's got an insanely good run for a forward.
He does. He does have an insanely good run for a forward.
Back-to-back 100s.
It is actually pretty good.
You look at his last 2 games.
I'm looking at his last.
He's run himself into form.
Every game. He could go nuts.
No, but his 2 games that he's just played, he's gone back-to-back 100s, and then he's got this he's played himself into form, and then he's got his nice run for forwards, and he's pushing up the ground more.
I don't hate it, but Mike, I don't know if we can.
We just got to mention him, because you can't just go ahead and mention all these other ones and not mention Jeremy Cameron when people have had 2 forwards bow out of their teams.
I agree.
They're trying to look for value forwards.
He's worth mentioning. I agree. You could go there. I will consider it myself. But we're just strapped for cash. So for me,
he's 438k.
He's 438k, but you're not going to be seriously considering finishing your season with Jeremy Cameron in your forward line, are you?
Fuck oath, I might.
Oh,
I've already brought in Shea Bolton.
He does play Richmond last game though, so that is tempting. That is super tempting.
Imagine it's your grand final, or you're looking to win the season, and you got freaking Jeremy Cameron versus Richmond in the last game, and he pops off for a 170.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. Don't. Oh, now I'm tempted. Now I'm super tempted. Oh my god, Zachary! Wait, can you do a straight trade from Zachary to Jeremy Cameron?
Probably.
Hang on. Jeremy Cameron is 438k 700. You actually make $100 doing the trade. You actually bank $100 from that trade.
You gotta mention Jeremy Cameron.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying. I'll just mention another one. Cozzy Pickett's 500k and he's going absolutely mental, but I don't like it. Everyone's talking about Cozzy Pickett.
I don't mind
playing the midfield minutes and shit.
He just got
Viney's
midfield.
Coming back, whatnot. And
he just got midfield DPP though. His lowest scores are 70. And that was against West. His lowest 2 scores were against Richmond and West Coast. So strange.
123 3-round average as well, by the way.
I don't mind it.
With the old
but
Cozzy Pickett.
Also, I don't love it. I don't love it.
And then just quickly, 2 guys in the midfield that are those 600k guys that have dropped off. Isaac Heaney, 530k, 8% of team, 68 break even. He's not playing anymore. He's playing a bit more of that. Like he's a better ball user. He's not really a grunt in and under player. Let's be real. So you got your Angus Sheldrick and your Callum Mills getting in there, scooping it out to him. He's then dishing it off. He's going good now. He's run himself into form. And the other one's Caleb Sarong, 535k, 106 average, 27% own, 95 break even. Brayshaw's started to get a bit more attention now. So it's meaning that Sarong, who's been getting tagged and just scraping 100s, hasn't been ultra shit, but hasn't been good for his original price tag, is now starting to get better scoring.
I don't mind it, but how many? The only thing I actually like Sarong, but I warn teams, if you're like me and you've been loading up on these like round 13 buy players.
Oh yeah.
If you bring in Sarong again, so it's all team dependent. You bring in Sarong again, just make sure you don't have like 8 of these guys or 6 of these guys. Because if you've just brought in Shai Bolton, you brought in Luke Jackson, you've got Sinclair because he was cheap a couple of weeks ago. Maybe you started Wang, and then all of a sudden you've held freaking McRae, and now you're sitting there. You got Brayshaw, and you're sitting there. You got Clark. I've just named 8 players. If you're gonna add a 9th, you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's messed up. Yeah.
So I've got.
Be sick for all the other rounds.
Yeah, you're great for every other round. You're just fucked next week. I've been doing that, so I definitely can't do that. But if you've missed out on most of those guys, yeah, I actually really like that. I really like a Sarong. I don't mind Heaney. I actually think Heaney is complemented by having Mills there, so I actually think his scoring will go up the more Mills plays. But outside of that, I wouldn't be going for anyone more expensive than that. I think that's it. They're your options this week. Let's move into vice captains and captains to wrap up the night or day or whenever you're watching this. It's night time for us. Thursday night. This is where my VC is coming in. Okay?
Is it Neil or Merritt?
It is Lockie Neal. Lockie Neal all the way.
That's fair.
He goes absolutely mental against Essendon every single time. It is nuts. Let's. I'm just going to take a look. I'm just going to bring up his scores against Essendon. 166, 109, 198. I captained him on that 198 day, and I remember it. It was fantastic. It was amazing. It was my Bucks party, and I remember I was hammered, and I was watching him score that 198, and it was like it was an amazing night. Anyway,
felt like me with Gorn this year. Yep.
What was that?
Felt like me with Gorn this year when he almost cracked 200 and I had him in C.
Yeah. I remember that one too. It was fantastic. That ended up being my best ever week in SuperCoach 2, ever. But it is what it is. I want to ride that again. 198 is what I'm obviously hoping for. But I could see him going big against Essendon, so I'll take a punt. His down games have been really shit this year, but his big games have been great. So he's coming off some good form. I think that's the best option.
Yeah, no, I don't mind that at all. Zachy Merritt's another one that's pretty decent in that one too, for a VC.
Brisbane don't tag.
To be honest, like you go Friday, nothing really on. Dacos will get tagged. Hawthorn, not really that great. Saturday, Suns and Freo. Again, you don't really like much going on. The only one in the Giants game I like is Tom Green versus Richmond.
What about Lockie Whitfield?
Your captain's going to end up... No, he's playing half forward. Nah, fuck that shit.
I did see that, but if he's not...
Yeah, but yeah, I wouldn't trust it. Maxi Gawn versus Rowan Marshall. Fucking slap.
So he would be my C if Neil doesn't go absolutely nuts. So, Max Gawn against
the
stock
standard. Yeah.
That's the one. That's definitely the one. If Neil doesn't go nuts. West Coast... Geelong. I would actually love to captain Bailey Smith in this game.
If he plays. That's the problem. So we're not going to know until the game starts if Geelong are actually playing Bailey Smith or not. Because as well as salary cap breaches, they also like to be absolute dicks with their injury list. So I don't love it. Max Holmes is an option. Only that, I will say, not only that, they said... Well, Bailey Smith came out and said, "Oh yeah, he wouldn't have even played last week, but he got the injections in for his shin, and it got him up." And then Chris Scott came out and said that he didn't even know about this shin issue. And then I think it was Andrew Mackie, came out and said he didn't even know about this shin issue. And yeah, anyway, fucking Geelong.
Honestly.
It's just, you just can't trust them.
Honestly, you have no idea what they're going to do until they do it. And then even still, you might question it. I wouldn't touch that game. I would just... It's the only time I wouldn't touch a West Coast game. And that's because we just don't know who's going to play. So, if your captain
But anyway...
doesn't do well...
You could.
There you go.
You could. And everyone... People are going to be listening to this go, who the hell is this Dano guy? I like to take a risk and I like to take a calculated punt. And in a round where there's no cherry and whatnot, if you're a ballsy person and you bring in Jeremy Cameron to the moon,
Kaz, your captain. I'd love him as a VC. If they were playing Friday night, I'd be all over that.
Oh, yeah. No, we were talking about this, like, Max Gawn, you could actually VC Max Gawn, even though he's the second last game because of these buys.
You could. Yeah, you could. That is true.
So you could technically VC Max Gawn, and if you're feeling ballsy, you see Jeremy Cameron if you bring him in. Probably wouldn't myself, because I don't have the gonads big enough to do it. But... What if he goes and gets a 170, I look like a genius.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
everyone's expecting him to go shit.
I think it would be more like I think crazy would be more accurate. Everyone would be like, I mean, you did well, but that's fine. I still like.
I think his history against West Coast is still so good too.
Yeah, I did look into that actually. So that's another reason why I'm still considering him, which is sad.
Can we just bring this up? Hang on. Last year, literally 143.
Oh, yuck.
The year before, 119. Like, he actually... What is his actual history against, like, career stats history against West Coast?
Career stats.
His career stats not that good, but his Geelong stats against West Coast seem to be really good.
His
Maybe
high,
he just didn't like
his
West
lowest,
Coast when he was at the Giants.
His lowest score was an 18 against West Coast, so that really brings down his average against his opponent is 74. I guarantee you, he's also scored a 2 against Richmond once. His average against them is skewed by that, I think.
But if you look at just his Geelong years, ignore his Giants years, I think his average against West Coast is insanely good.
That's because West Coast have been shit that whole time, so that makes sense.
But Geelong are much better at feeding him the ball, and his role is much better at Geelong than what it was at the Giants.
That is true.
Even though he won a Coleman at the Giants, he actually had less supply to him and just took his opportunities more at the Giants, whereas now he gets more of the ball at Geelong.
That does make sense, and probably better kicks towards him as well. That's all we have time for. Thanks so much, Dan, for joining me tonight. And for those listeners that are still listening in, where can they find you again?
So it's on X. You can find me at DANEOSCCC on there. And on Facebook, we are SuperCoach Co-Captains on there. We've also got a Spotify, Google Play, or whatever the freaking hell it is. I don't know what they're called these days. We're on Podbean. All those different ones we're on where you can find your podcast, just SuperCoach Co-Captains. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me again. I'll be listening to your podcast this week as well. While I contemplate what the hell I'm doing this week, honestly. I think I'm just going to load up for Dagos. I think that's definitely what's happening. But that's all we have time for today. I'll be back same time, same place next week as well. Very well.